William Ruto amepanic akiwa Mombasa County. And kwa hii video, I don't want you to swipe, guys. I want you to accompany me step by step. William Ruto amepata copy regarding Gachagua is going to vie a presidential seat. And guys, mimi nauliza, hii ni game regarding Gachagua anajaribu kuchezea William Ruto ama vipi? Anajaribu kufanya confusion to William Ruto ama regarding Gachagua ako serious? Juu saizi guys, ukiuliza Mkenya ni nani anaweza kuwa candidate bora zaidi wa kubiti William Ruto in 2027? Most of them utakuja kuona kwamba wanasema Fred Okengo Matiang'i akifuatwa na Rigathi Gachagua. Kumaanisha these two people lazima tukae chini tuangalie sisi kama opposition ni nani anaweza peperusha hii bendera ili tukuje kwa upamoja na to make sure hizi kura zote tunaweka kwa basket moja na tupeleke William Ruto nyumbani. But without that, Rigathi Gachagua akisema anaenda kuvai, Fred Matiang'i avai, Stephen Kalonzo avai, juu Kalonzo pia naamini Rigathi Gachagua anaweza muendoze. So Rigathi Gachagua ameanza confuse President William Ruto ama vipi? Unaona watu wangu? Now kulikuwa na heated debate pale TV47. Discussion kuhusu Rigathi Gachagua. He can vie a presidential seat. Ako free kuvai ama bado koti inamzuilia. Hiyo ndio kitu imekuwa ikidiskasiwa pale. And you are going to be shocked kupata kwamba Rigathi Gachagua can vie a presidential seat. Unaona watu wangu? Sabina Chege alikuwa pale, Senator Nyuta alikuwa pale, Professor Gola walikuwa pale na walikuwa wanajaribu kuchambua vizuri tena zaidi. And unaona William Ruto kumdefend na kwa ngumu. Saizi Sabina Chege alienda pale defending President William Ruto, but inakuwa ngumu zaidi, inakuwa kazi nzito zaidi. Unaona watu wangu? Now William Ruto akiwa Mombasa amejaribu kustrike back to Rigathi Gachagua. Rigathi Gachagua alipeana ujumbe gani ambao William Ruto amejaribu ku strike back?
The greatest president Kenya has ever had. A great man, very focused economist, went to the prestigious Makerere University for his bachelor's degree. Later on, he went to the London School of Economics for master's. He performed as Minister for Finance and Economic Planning. A great man, a great leader. In his 10 years presidency, Mwai Kibaki never took the microphone to lecture the people of Kenya about how educated he was. He never. Yet, the things he did, everybody can see. As we drove yesterday on the Thika Superhighway, in reaching Muthaiga, we remembered Mwai Kibaki. When you look at Nairobi, the bypasses that Mwai Kibaki opened, you marvel at how focused a leader can be. It is during the reign of Mwai Kibaki that there was free primary education. It is during the reign of Mwai Kibaki, banks were hawking loans. You would go outside a bank and you find a tent. Some little nice pretty girl was calling you, please come, we give you a loan. There was too much money in the country, isn't it? All those who made money, I included. We did it during the reign of Mwai Kibaki. Not a single day did he brag and boast to the people of Kenya or how educated he is. When we look at the one saying how educated he is, in 3 years, the things he has done, abductions and extrajudicial killings, theft of public resources, destruction of the health system, destruction of the education system, gangs and militias harassing women all over. That, to him, is a benefit of education. So I was thinking about it last night as before I slept, and I analyzed at how educated this man is. With all his degrees, and there are many, and I came to this conclusion. Yes, he has a PhD in lies and deception. He has masters in corruption, theft, and bribery. Bachelor's degree in abduction, extrajudicial killing, and ordering for people to be shot in the leg. The man has a diploma in mismanagement and destruction of working institutions. And he has a certificate in wash, tribalism, and dividing the mountain. With those few words, I want to say.
Huyo ni Rigathi Gachagua, the former deputy president. And I can tell you, kama kuna kitu William Ruto ako na wasiwasi nayo, ile blanda alifanya ya kumimpeach Rigathi Gachagua. Unaona watu wangu? And now, kabla usikize William Ruto responding, I want you to listen to this debate in TV47. But ensure me like, na nasema thanks for your great support. Nyinyi ni watu wangu zaidi. Kulikuwa pale na fireworks. Sikiza.
He should not run for president.
Not really. There are those was. It's not supposed to be my opinion or my position. The law has already said that he cannot run. According to the status quo, as things stand today, he's not qualified to run as per the operational law that I stated. The Wambora case is very different from Gachagua'S because for him, he was reinstated by the court. And then again, in between, there must have been an injunction, something that Gachagua failed to get. So Gachagua did not get the injunction to keep him in office. That's one thing. Then we cannot predict the outcome of the courts, that they will allow him to continue being politically relevant or not. What I'm seeing here is a circus, actually a melodramatic script written by Cleophas Malala continuing to play. Because Gachagua knows very well that the best thing that happens to him is when he's enjoying this kind of airtime. And he has actually achieved it now that we are discussing him. All that he's doing right now is just to remain in the news, to be relevant, eventually have a few candidates running on his kiosk of a party. And I think from there, he also wants to have a say. Remember, he has kept on saying that he wants to be like Raila. So he thinks through that he can bargain, maybe in the future, negotiate around and get back to be relevant in politics by having a few members of parliament under his party so that they can influence one or two things for him. But as far as things or the situation stands today, he's only trying to push this kind of narrative to hoodwink people to start to continue considering him as a leader.
All right.
But politically, he does not qualify to run for any office.
Yes, because he initially had painted a picture that he was going to be probably the kingmaker behind the scenes. Why do you think he made the decision to vie? Is it to up his stake within the united opposition? Why do you think he chose to do that right now?
I think I can't say that he made a decision to vie, but I said he made a decision to say he's vying.
Yes.
So first of all, let me say before I go there that for the first time I agree with my sister, Sabina Chege, when he asked the question, which I told you the main question should be the overall question than going personal, and I agree with you that we have to ask the tough questions. How has the current president performed? Which kind of people around him, how are they performing? Do they have the moral compass to even say who should be president or not? And maybe Senator Ruto might think that's not a discussion, but it's a very important discussion because there are so many people who are receiving a lot of funds and they're just making noise the president has failed. And the shift is shifting into pointing at one person. Other people are getting away with the murder. Murder here means with a lot of misappropriation of funds. But going to your main topic is that what is happening is that if you look at it from political strategic point of view, I'm one of the members of the United Opposition, though you don't see me running around with them, but I am there because the People's Restorative Justice Commission is actually under United Opposition. And whether you want to say it's constitutional or not, we are doing work which people who have constitutional mandate are not doing because history is full with books of commissioners, panels set up that are doing nothing. So we are doing what needs to be done. The only thing we are doing, we cannot use state funds to do what we need to do. We have mobilized our own funds to do what Kenyans need to do, and what matters is that the job gets done. So in United Opposition, when you see Gachaga going to the US, they were trying to look at everybody, how are they behaving. That's why you saw in this cartoon, everybody says the ground says I'm the one, ground says I'm the one. So the question is, should you run because the ground says you are running? And who is the ground? How do you measure this ground? And I think that my first point is that I think the United Opposition that I belong to have not quantified the risk of Ruto becoming again a president in 2027. And maybe that's what Gachagua must have been triggered with by saying, hey, I'm looking at my fellow players and I can't see who is fit really. And should I also just throw my hat in the ring to tell them, hey, don't think it is given? Because if I tell you I'm going to make you a king, you can go to bed and sleep, isn't it? And said, well, Gachagua is going to work for me. Like, for example, when Gachagua said I can make you a king, and he has 7 million votes, and you think that he has been castrated, he cannot run, then say, by the way, let me remind you that the Constitution that actually stopped me. And Fred, if you read the Constitution faithfully, there are different what called constitutional and legal. Constitutionally, there's nothing stopping Gachagua from running. But legal provisions might be the barriers to it. I remember, Constitution are what has been done in 2010, but legal are things trying to interpret the Constitution, and sometimes the Constitution can overrule. Let me take you the case of Sakaja in Nairobi. To run for governor, those things saying degree and the rest actually are not in the Constitution. So the legal provisions could stop him, but the Constitution doesn't stop him. Okay. So what happens is that the jurisprudence of the court that will sit might say the Constitution sits at the apex of legal provisions and therefore he can run, because there's something in the Constitution which is there. Until you exhaust all your legal mechanisms, and I've actually read it again, it's not a finality. Impeachment is it's not like a death, because he still have rights. So he still has a right of life, he can still exercise this one the way he wants. But for me, the most painful thing is that if we can quantify this problem, because I've heard people just saying, like I hear, for example, if I quote one of the leaders of the United Opposition, Kalonzo Musyoka, he has been making a certain statement very consistently, that one term, isn't it? He says one term is an eventuality. One term will happen, isn't it? No, it won't happen. It must be made to happen. Okay. And they are shouting and saying, Gen Zs can't vote for this guy. No, you can't leave it to Gen Zs. But you have to front yourself and say, bring your policies, come forward and demonstrate your electability. That's why Gachagua in Githurai said, I am fit to run, so that those people don't go to bed saying, you'll make me president. All right, because this is one of the things that could be derailing some people by thinking, he can't run, so I'll just gain from Mount Kenya vote because Gachagua can't run. Yes, he can run. All right. Just before I give you an opportunity for your final comments, allow me to just go through some of the views on this matter from our viewers. Maina Wamodhoni says Gachagua has it all to become the 6th president of Kenya. He's ready to restore the dignity of this country. Honorable Willie Mutunga, but this is not the former CJ, is called Atsa Willie on X. I would vote for him just to remove the situation we are in currently, but not sure whether it will change anything, but at least there will be change of power. Kimosop Korir says, is he even fast fit to run for political seat, he asks, unless we use a different constitution, but still, he won't be a choice. Mokua Freddy says, king of shareholding, it's like jumping from frying pan to hot fire. Sharon Kananu, it's not possible. I thought the so-called united opposition has a plan. It's all about self-interest, not about the people. Kalen Nyakio, if Gachagua was in government, hizi kelele zote hazingekuwa. And finally, Eugene Fuller says, no, I wouldn't vote for Rigathi Gachagua in 2027 because of his leadership style, controversies, and limited national appeal, raises doubts about his ability to unite and transform Kenya effectively. These are just some of your comments. We have a poll on X, and we're asking Rigathi Gachagua as a president in 2027, would you vote for him? 54% say yes, 29% say no. Those are the final results from that poll. And I think one more. Bamku Abshir says, true, Sabina, I think is on one of the responses you gave. Someone is in agreement. David Susa, let them answer that question. Is Gachagua qualified or not? Na mwingine anauliza wapiga kura waache kuchagua watu juu ya mtu fulani. All right. Thank you so much for your comments, and continue. The conversation definitely continues online even beyond this show. I want to give you each about a minute or so for your final comments. Let's start with you, Fwamba.
Just before I get to that, I saw Prof mentioning about 7 million votes. I believe that was hypothetical because as far as I'm concerned, the elections have not been held yet, and it's not determinable on who is going to get what votes or who has what kind of following. I do not think if like Honorable Sabina Chege is part of the 7 million supposed votes of the so-called Gachagua'S candidature. Okay. And I insist that based on the constitutional provisions, Gachagua does not qualify to run for an elective seat whatever is being mentioned here politically is to just make him relevant for certain political benefits. And those ones who are fighting President Ruto in particular, for me, I believe are people who are uncomfortable with the kind of changes that he has created. There are people with this kind of shareholding mentality that wanted to continue having the country having that kind of skewed development. And they are unhappy right now that the government is implementing projects all over the country, whether in Mount Kenya, whether in Western, whether in Northeastern or Nyanza. It is now a whole country kind of interest that the president is pushing. And I think that's applaudable.
Unless all the avenues of appeal have been exhausted, then as we stand regarding Gachagua, we have a chance to vie at the 2027. Though we have had cases of impeachment of Waitito, who never vied, and also Sonko, who was cleared to last minute. And so maybe what we need to do is just to encourage our friends that they need to maybe fast track or conclude this matter. As you said, we can have a person vying for presidency, and then maybe halfway, or when the person has been elected, then the case is determined. So as we are,
do you get the feeling that we are not so sure about this provision on impeachment and who should run for office, who should not?
If someone is impeached, they cannot vie for the position. But then there is also the issue of have they exhausted the appeals? That's the question. And I think because we're in this country, what we should be asking ourselves is, does he qualify? Apart from the impeachment, does he qualify?
Have we been consistent on this issue? Because we've seen other people who have probably cases in court and after the impeachment, and they were denied an opportunity to run.
You see, for someone like Waitito, I think his case had already been determined. For Sonko, that's why we saw the last minute. I think it was a month to the election, so that then he was cleared to vie for governorship of Mombasa, which was too late towards the end. We had, I think, Karungo Watangwa. There was also a case of Karungo who was cleared the last minute to vie as a senator of Kiambu. It was a very big case. But when you look at somebody like Waluke and what the law says, if it's somebody by the time they were registering to be a candidate, if they had been sentenced for imprisonment of more than 6 months, I think at that point, why Waluke was not barred from vying is because he had not been sentenced or imprisoned by the time he was being registered as a candidate for election. And I think that's a difference that we have. So we can't just say we have seen people like Waluke being allowed to vie. By the time he registered as a person who wanted to vie for the position, the sentence had not come in. And I think that's how Waluke has also managed to survive. But the big question, I think as Kenyans we should be asking is that why do we vote for individuals to become our president? And what do we look for in a candidate or an individual to become our own president? Because unfortunately what I've seen is that we, the politicians, want to confuse our own people. And I want to start maybe from the 2017, I go to 2022, where we follow a candidate. Myself as Sabina, I know by then in 2017 or 2012 when I vied and I was on the side of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, it was almost obvious that I'm going to be elected. But the Murang'a people, did they ask, so then if we elect Sabina as our women rep, what are the expectations? And that is why we have seen after the year 2022, unfortunately, there are many people who hanged on the court of William Samoei Ruto because by then he was the most popular candidate. And so they went and told people, you have to elect me because I'm supporting William Samoei Ruto. But immediately after they came into parliament, they abandoned him. And now they are holding on to other people's or other individuals' courts saying, you elect me because I am a supporter of so-and-so. I think at some point, and where we have reached as a country, we need to mature up as voters and start asking the hard questions. So why should I elect you as my own senator? I should not elect you as my own women rep or my own MP because you are following so-and-so as an individual. Come in, and I think we need also to start, people to be accountable. We start asking the hard questions. I have elected you as my member of parliament for this is the third year. As we are looking at the performance of the national government for the last 3 years, can we start from the grassroots? Because as the voters, when we are doing the election, we have 6 candidates. So from the MCAs, what did you promise? What have you done? And don't come to tell me I've not done because of so-and-so. Because when you are voting for me, I didn't tell you because I'll work, or I'm pegging my performance with so-and-so or an individual. That is why as members of parliament, we cannot have an excuse and come and say William Ruto has failed us. We have the mandate we can pass laws. So if you are a senator, have you done the oversight of the money that is coming to your county? Those are the hard questions that we need to start asking. Because at the end of we are so fixated and obsessed with the person who is becoming the next president. But before I tell you about my next president, can I tell you currently, I am nominated, what have I done?
All right.
Can I tell you currently, every MP, and I think it's good for people to know, there is no MP in this Republic of Kenya who has less than 200 million per year. What has this money done? I was seeing some, I think last night at the news when I was seeing counties like Turkana and the Northeastern, where there's a threat of hunger or drought. But these counties receive billions every year. Where has this money gone into? And people start asking their governors hard questions. We have seen people coming into positions and earning a lot of money, buying properties, and there's a lot of money that is being spent. But are we asking those hard questions? Where is this money coming from?
All right.
What has my governor done for me? Has my senator here, who is also my senator, Joe Nyoto, put into account the money so far Murang'a County has received and how that money has been used? I think those are the questions. But I think it's unfortunate, and this, I am now serving my third term, but this is the only parliament and the only time that drama started immediately people were voted in. Mm-hmm. And so people have abandoned their mandate on why they were elected. And so it's about showdown. It's about, I am supporting so-and-so. It's about 2027. But before we tell Kenyans about 2027, can we be accountable for the last 3 years and also say what is our plan for the next 2 years?
Senator, I feel there are a few questions that you need to answer from the statement that she has made. And I'm looking at pages 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation. Gachagua 2027 candidacy sparks intrigue, reshaping battle to unseat president.
Primary and secondary oversight. I think she did not get that. And so I was not escaping from my role of oversight. I was just saying there are things that people have been misled to be done by the senator, and there are things that the senator does. So the thing is the difference between between primary and secondary. Well, I think I would want to tell my brother Fwaba, every time Gachagu is mentioned, he's laughing sarcastically. I want to tell him that he should have some respect for people and not be dismissive and contemptuous of people. Probably this is the first time people have heard about him. Gachagu is talked about every day. You cannot dismiss him by such a sarcastic laughter. He said that Gachagu is just trying to get a few seats. Does he understand what a few means? Gachagu is not going to get a few seats. He is going to get very many seats. And so it's important that people respect others. I heard him say that Ruto has brought change. Yes, he has brought change. Reduced capitation from 22,000 to 16,000 and now 15,000. That for Fwaba and the particular side he supports is a very big change. That we are having billions being stolen from SHA. That's a very big thing that is being done. That we have had young people being, arrested and killed for Fwaba. That is big things. And the one very annoying thing is to say that Fwaba, you need to learn good manners.
Just allow him to make his
Fwaba,
Senator.
You need to learn good debate manners.
Our time is
Then one thing that he said that is very, very sad and must not go unchallenged is to say that there are some people who have some shareholding mentality. Okay. Nobody has prevented President Ruto from carrying out a project anywhere.
Okay.
And when people point out at bad things that President Ruto is doing, somebody cannot say that those people have a shareholding mentality.
Thank you, Senator.
So, let's debate issues when we come here. Okay. And it's important, Fred, and you know that when you invite people here, tell them that they are supposed to wait for the others to finish their submissions before they interject.
Thank you, sir.
We have to have good debate manners.
Thank you. We only have about 60 seconds for your comments. Only 60 seconds, Prof.
Yeah, thank you very much, Fred. Mine is simply to say that it's time for generational change. And I want to address the Kenyans by saying that over 2 years ago, Kenyans flocked in the streets actually on 25th of June, led by the Gen Zs, and they were demanding accountability, they demanded good governance, they demanded economic liberation. Of course, they were met with state-sponsored violence, police brutality. So what was supposed to turn out to a bullet revolution was not done, and now I'm urging Kenyans, let's move to ballot revolution. Okay. So on 28th of September this month, we have a date with destiny. And I want to urge Kenyans from all walks of life, flock into IBC registration centers, register and participate in this revolution you wanted by first of all getting the most precious item for your sovereignty, which is the ballot, so that you can use this very instrument to vote out this grossly corrupt and grossly incompetent government and change the destiny of your nation and use the standards which have been mentioned on this show. Thank you.
Professor.
Now, William Ruto ini Mombasa. Mambo yalichemuka pale. Mbaya tena zaidi. Aliamua kurespond to regard Gachagua. Kwa hii mambo ya PhD, mambo ya certificate. Sikiza.
Siasa ya ukabila na chuki na migawanyiko haina nafasi tena katika serikali na katika taifa letu la Kenya. Ndio sababu tumeungana. Tunaelewana? Ndio tumeunganisha tukawa na serikali ya broad-based ambayo inawajumuisha Wakenya wote, kwa sababu ya muhimu sio mashindano ya kisiasa, sio malumbano ya kisiasa, sio mambo ya mirengo. Ya muhimu ni vile tutabadilisha Kenya, tuondoe umaskini, tuzalishe chakula ya kutosha, tufukuze njaa, tuzalishe nafasi za ajira wa vijana wetu wa Kenya, tuzalishe uchumi Kenya, tuondoe umaskini, tuwe na utajiri, Kenya iweze kusonga mbele. Watu wa Mombasa jameni, na wauliza, munasema tuungane ama tutengane bwana? Tuungane sio? Ndio tuweze kufanya kazi kwa pamoja. Tunaelewana? Na mimi nataka niwaeleze. Kuna wale hawana imani na taifa letu. Kuna wachache ambao hawana imani na taifa letu, hawana imani na uwezo wetu, hawana imani na mipango yetu. Mimi ninawaeleza wale, please, mtupatie nafasi. Wacheni mambo ya kutukana na kudharau taifa letu. Hatuna taifa lingine, na hii taifa letu la Kenya, tukifanya kazi kwa pamoja, tunaweza kuondoa taifa letu la Kenya kutoka kwa yale mipango ya third world. Tunaweza kuisukuma nchi hii, wakati tukiishi hivi tukiwa hai, tuipeleke mpaka first world, kwa sababu inawezekana. Wengine wamefanya, Kenya inawezekana, na tutaifanya tukiungana pamoja. Mombasa hoye! Mombasa hoye! And I want to say, when I am in this beautiful old city of Mombasa, that as citizens of this country, we must believe in ourselves. We must believe in our country. We must believe in our ability. And it is possible for us to move Kenya from where it is, working together, eliminating tribalism, removing division, making sure that we are united. We can lift our country from being a third world country to a first world country in our generation.